This go back to the beginning. So this is my commentated speed run of SteamWorld Dig 2 4 gold stars. Now, before I start, I just want to make a lot of things clear. Just clearing up what exactly this is, and stuff. So, this is a Metroidvania digging game, developed by Image and Form. It released in 20. Fuck, I forgot what year this was, but it released on the PC, Nintendo Switch, and I think PS4 and Xbox One. This is on the PC version, but as far as I'm aware, all versions are the same for speedrunning. There's no differences. But yeah, it's like a Metroidvania digging game. It's really, really good. It's a really underrated gem, in my opinion. Um, and yeah, so a lot of the tricks in this run, you'll probably already know if you've watched my any percent commentary of this game. I have an any percent commentated run on my YouTube. Um, so I'll still explain most of the tricks, but just do be aware that if you don't understand something, I am looking at chat. So actually, hold on. I'm gonna get my phone charger because I'm afraid of this thing running out of battery during the run, so I won't be able to look at chat. But yeah, I will be looking at chat if anybody has any questions about the game, like in general. If there's something that was unclear, you can just ask me and I'll explain it. So hold on, I'm just gonna get the charger to make sure I can still read chat the entire run. But yeah, also the category this that I'm doing commentary on is 4 gold stars. Now you might be wondering, what the fuck is 4 gold stars? Well, in this game, it's basically 100%. So when you beat the game, there's a results screen after the credits that gives you four like 4 stars based on your performance, and those are time, how long it took you to beat the game, um, cash, you need to finish, or how much money you got in total throughout the game, um, deaths, how many times you died, and secrets, how many secrets you found. So 4 gold stars is getting the gold star on each of those requirements, which is the max you can get. So that means beating the game under the stipulated time limit that the developers put in. I think it's like 4.5 hours or something. So it's not a very long game, because to get a gold star in the completion time, you need to beat the game in like less than 5 hours, I think. So we need to beat the game under that time limit, which, as you can see by the link, is not a problem. We need to get at least $15,000 total of money in the game. We need to get 100% of the secrets, and we need to find every secret and get everything in the game. And we also need to die 0 times. You cannot die at all in this run. If you die, the run is kind of invalid. But for marathons, you can Alt F4 as soon as you die, and it will not count the death because it only saves when you press the text box when you die. So yeah, for RTA runs, like, sometimes that can happen, but thankfully I didn't have to do that in this run because I didn't die or accidentally quit out the game, and you'll see why accidentally quitting out the game can sometimes be a problem later on. But yeah, I'm basically gonna start now. Is there anything else that anybody wants to ask before we start the run? Oh yeah, one more thing. This game runs with in-game time, so as you can see, Windows fucked up and doesn't show the proper punctuation, but this is actually in 1 hour 57:15 in-game time. Like, you can see it's like 2:07. The actual run is like 2:04 in real time, but this game actually has a very, very good in-game timer. It starts when you boot up the file, and it ends when the credits start, which is when the game like ends, and it completely removes the time spent on loading screens. Loading screens are not very long; they're only like half a second maybe, but it deducts that every time you go for a loading zone, and it also does not count the time. Yeah, still can't put colons in file names. I guess there must be some technical reason. Either that or Bill Gates is just lazy. Um, and it also does not count the time spent in the pause menu. So you can actually pause and look at your map, because it's a Metroidvania with a huge map and so many secrets that it's actually recommended for when you run this category, you have a map of the game world on another screen or a monitor or whatever, and you just pause to look at it periodically to make sure you don't miss anything, because it's very easy to miss or forget something. So if you see me pausing when I'm getting secrets and stuff, if you see me pausing and just looking at the map for an extended period of time, what I'm actually doing in real life is pausing the game and looking at my map. And because pausing the game doesn't affect your speedrun in any way, you can literally pause and lose no time. It's very, very, very convenient that you can just pause and look at your resource anytime to make sure that you're not missing anything. But yeah, so I guess that's it. If there's anything else you guys want to ask before I start the run proper, let me just forward in the video here. I think the run starts around... Okay, so it's when you choose the difficulty. When I press, it's when I press normal difficulty. Oh yeah, another thing about speedruns of this game is that you must do the run on normal difficulty. I haven't played much of this game on easy, and I think, don't quote me on this, I think the only difference is that on easy you take less damage. But as far as I know, all speedruns are done on normal, and there's no time loss for doing it on normal compared to easy. So every runner just does the run on normal, and I think it's actually a rule in the leaderboards, it must be on normal difficulty or whatever. But yeah. So yeah, timing starts not when you press this, but when the cutscene starts. So I guess we'll get right into it. Okay, so the time starts now. When this cutscene begins is when the timer starts. There's a little cutscene here, and right away we're gonna do a pretty major skip. And it's kind of hard to explain, but I'll try my best. So there's this cliff to the left here, and we're gonna climb up way before we're supposed to. Using these wall jumps, you can just barely jump off the edge of the tile above you. Right there, you can just barely nick that and wall jump off it to climb up these cliffs. And so we can get the first secret of the run, where we get a $50 ore piece and also the first cog mod. So cog mods in this game affect your character. They're basically non-permanent upgrades that you can interchangeably modify at any time. So throughout the game, you'll see a lot of different combinations of cog mods. That one in particular that we got from the guy at the top is actually one of the free secret cog mods that you still need for 100%. For secrets and stuff, you still need to get those, even if you only use one of the two of the free secrets. So we're just entering the tutorial area right here, and getting a secret here on the left, which is another upgrade cog. So to put cog mods on Dorothy, which is the main character, you need upgrade cogs, which are these golden gears that you find throughout the game world. There's 80 something of these in the game, but I think the speedrun only gets 77 because there's some you can buy but they don't count towards secrets. So you're getting the speed boots now from this first upgrade station. you need the speed boots to leave this first area, and that's why a randomizer at this game actually does not randomize this first one, otherwise you literally could not beat the game. And we're getting the second secret right here. There's a breakable block right there that leads us to the artifact. So this game has 42 artifacts, which are items that you get with flavor text. Okay, so you use the speed boots and a wall jump to get up to here where you're not supposed to and open that transport tube, which is fast travel in this game. You are not supposed to get there until you have the hook shot much later in the game. But if you do a running start and a wall jump off the wall, you can get up there and unlock that transport tube for later. But unlike any percent, we're not going to be heading further down that path just yet. Another secret up here with another cog. Like I said, there's about 70 something cogs in this game, but there's like way more secrets with artifacts and stuff. So I think 100% could technically be like 77 cogs, 42 artifacts, and the rest of the gold star requirements. So this is the first boss of the Temple of Guidance. There's really not much to it. You just dodge his incredibly easy shots, and then when he's done 3 volleys of these, you just jump onto his head and hit him with the pickaxe a bunch. And this boss fight is actually skipped in any percent, because it's not necessary to beat the game. But we get this boss fight in 4 gold stars because beating this boss gives you the map. And like I said, the map is supremely important. And you need it. And also because in the boss room there is a secret that we need to get. So even if so you're like saying, oh, couldn't you theoretically do this 100% run without the map? No, because there's a secret in the boss room that we need to get for 100%, and you need to get in the room to get the secret, and that ends up triggering the boss fight anyway. We're not gonna get that later, we're not gonna get that right now, excuse me, because we don't have the jackhammer. So we're just climbing up to town here. This is El Maquino, or El Machino, I don't know, I call it El Maquino because it's better, because it's Espanol. So we're going to El Maquino, which is the town where you sell your shit. And because we got that ore from the skip we did earlier, we can actually buy this equipment a little earlier. And we're going back to the lower temple shaft, and we're going to do a trick here where if we jump off the water and do a double jump off the ground, we can get up this path without the hook shot. And this is just like a major sequence break. You're not supposed to be in here at all. We're doing this shit all sorts of out of order, and it's really, really crazy. So the second secret cog mod right under here in Yarrow, it's the Thrill Seeker's Tale. And this is the only secret cog mod we're gonna use in the entire game, because the other ones are very detrimental. What Thrill Seeker's Tale does is that it doubles all experience gained from enemies. However, where you sell your shit, we'll have to blame that on the Braziliano. Thanks. It's just that swearing is Okay, so there's a lot of stuff happening, but we're not supposed to be in this area. We're using the double jump glitch to get up to this transport tube right here and leave it open for later. We're not going to go back to Yarrow, which is that blue jungle area, until much, much later. So don't worry about that. So I turned on Thrill Seeker's Tale right there, and I'm backtracking through Yarrow so to get the rest of the secrets and open a path to the lower part of Archaea. So what Thrill Seeker's Tale does is that it doubles all experience gained from killing enemies at the cost that when you kill enemies you no longer get refill of health, light, and water. So you basically get double experience, however there's no way to like refill your resources and your health outside of like going back to town, which fully heals you. Right there I used that purple enemy shot to open a path to that artifact, which is a book called 50 Shades of Cliché. And right here under the water, another little secret path for a cog. Every time you see secret area uncovered, it's because it's like required. So every secret that I'm getting, like I said, this is 100%. We need to get everything. So we're backtracking through this path. We're doing this path kind of backwards, and that leads us to a transport tube to below the wall. But we're not even, like, we didn't even enter Archaea proper yet. We basically opened the door to the bottom of the area before we even entered it through the entrance, which is crazy. So earlier with the money, we bought a bag, a lamp, and a pickaxe. So each pickaxe upgrade you get is like one less hit for each tile. So the more you upgrade your pickaxe, the less hits it takes to break each tile, except for some special tiles, which we'll see later. But yeah, this is like the actual first, like, intended upgrade of the game. First, there's a little secret there with a cracked wall for a cog. There's a lot of little soul stuff in this game, so casually playing, you might miss, like, most of this stuff, unless you really, like, look for it. So we enter this first dungeon to get our next upgrade, or our next ability, which is the pressure bomb. It's a grenade launcher, basically, and if you shoot it, it sticks to a block and blows it up. However, it requires water, so we now have 2 bars of water. We can skip blowing up that first set of blocks by just jumping on top of the upgrade station and climbing up with the double jump glitch. Oh, I forgot to explain the double jump glitch. Okay, so this is pretty standard. We're just progressing through the dungeon and getting some hidden secrets behind breakable walls. So I guess I'll explain the double jump glitch. So in this game, you can bind your jump button to 2 different buttons on the controller. So like, I bind my jump to A and RT on my controller. So if I press them both at the same time, like within a short frame window of each other, it like doubles my height. So when you see me talking about double jumping, I'm basically pressing 2 buttons at the same time, and it greatly increases my jump height. And it's really simple. Like, at first we thought, oh, you need to press the same button twice in like 5 frames or whatever, but turns out you don't need to do that. You can just bind jump to 2 buttons and just press them at the same time. So we did a little bit of dungeons at the first part of Archaea there. So each area has mini dungeons, which are mini challenges, which give you rewards like cogs, artifacts, etc. And we need to do all of them in each area. You'll see which dungeons we completed fully if it has a green check mark on it. So that tube we opened at the bottom of Archaea is actually really useful, because instead of having to dig down all the way, we just take the fast travel back to the tube we opened with ridiculous sequence breaking earlier, and now we are right next to the next upgrade in line after the pressure bomb, instead of having to do a bunch of tedious digging. First, we gotta solve some puzzles involving boxes. Every time you see me like jumping really high, it's usually a double jump, and you can tell when it's a double jump because the jump sound effect plays twice. It like does whoop. It's not like the normal jump sound effect. There's a hidden ore right above this upgrade station as well, so we just take that because, like I said, we need as much money as we can get in this run. So now we get the jackhammer. If you've played the first game, this is kind of like the drill from that. So the pickaxe can take care of soil, but only the jackhammer can destroy bricks. So these bricks right here, I literally cannot damage them with my pickaxe. And then the third cog mod right here, that's the third Yoinker brother. So now we have all 3 secret cog mods, which are part of the 100% secrets anyway. So even if we don't use them, we have to get them. Right here, I'm digging at a very specific point because there's a fixed azurite drop, as you saw in that one block. It will always be in the same place every time. There's a lot of stuff in this game that has completely fixed locations that I'll elaborate later, But yeah, right now we're just digging down to the next story area. This game actually has a story, believe it or not. I'm just skipping all the dialogue and cutscenes. The Oasis. This is where Rosie and the humans live. This game actually takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where robots are the main, like, dominant species on the planet or whatever, and humans live underground. Rosie is actually the villain of the game, but you don't find that out until the very end. Oops, spoilers. So yeah, we go back to town and sell shit because we're about to go do this one dungeon in the Oasis, which not only has our next upgrade, which is the hook shot, but also has some secrets and money that we need to get. Like I said, we not only need all the secrets, we need 15k in cash total sold to Barnacle Jones by the end of the game. And the game does not keep track of that, unlike the first game. So you need a mental route of what you've bought and what you haven't to make sure you have enough money. So now we have the hook shot, and now movement is going to be pretty crazy. As you can see, you can just hook yourself all over the place like Spider-Man. The task movement with this thing is absolutely insane. There is a task of this game, any percent. It's 18 minutes in game time. And it's really, really crazy. So we just cleared up that dungeon to get the artifact and the ore there. Another secret up here above Rosie, where we get another artifact. The 6-pack of moon juice. It's not a beer, it's moon juice. It's just moon juice. Alright, so we go back to the lower temple shaft, and you might be wondering, what the fuck are you doing back here? Like, what is even the next objective? So, in order to beat this game, like, in order to, just any percent, just to reach the credits, you need to destroy all the generators, which are all the devices of Doomsday or whatever. And there's one in each area. There's one in this temple, which is what we're doing right now. There's one in Yarrow, the one at the very bottom of Yarrow, and one in the Temple of the Destroyer. We're doing the Temple of Guidance generator first because it does not require any digging upgrades. So we don't have that much in like the way of digging things. So we only do this one first because it doesn't require anything, and it's also pretty fast. So we're just cleaning up all the secrets in this general area before we do these 2 dungeons as well. So yeah, every little one of these dungeons that you enter via a door has at least one secret that you need to get. Obviously, like, once you've played this game for dozens of hours, you know where all the secrets are. Like, you don't even think of them as secrets, you just think of them as, oh, this is something that I just need to do. But yeah, this is the Chamber of Wheels. We need to push around minecarts to press buttons and open the door. And you might be thinking, are there any major glitches in this game? Not really. The double jump is the only one. And through the double jump, we just do all the sequence breaks that let us beat the game in any percent at least without doing a bunch of stuff. But in 100%, we have to do everything anyway. But yeah, this game doesn't have anything major besides just optimized movement and routing. And some other sequence breaks. But I wouldn't call them glitches, it's more like side effects of having the double jump. There's actually an achievement in this game, like there's a Steam achievement for doing the any percent route. Like, so normally you're intended to do an area called Vectron before you destroy any of the generators. So like I said, you need to destroy 3 generators to beat the game, but you're only intended to destroy them after you've gone to Vectron. Oh, I forgot that I got hosted while I was streaming this run. Hosted my stream with 3 viewers. I wish that would happen right now. Secret over here to the left. But there's a Steam achievement for beating the game without ever going to Vectron. So there is... the developers do know about the speedrun. they like saw this coming. They designed, and that achievement was there from launch, by the way. So even at release, they knew you could beat the game without ever going to Vectron. They knew you could sequence break your way with that. So yeah, any percent, when you think about it, is really a second developer intended route, but that's just a curiosity, I guess. I didn't talk about it much, but this is the Chamber of Arrows. You just need to dodge all the arrows while getting all the secrets and stuff. This is supposed to be like a room where you need to be on respective sides to avoid the arrows, but there's like gaps in between the arrow shooters where you can grapple onto the wall and not get hit. So we need to do those 2 dungeons in order to press these 2 buttons, which opens the shaft up to the first generator. So, like I said, you need a jetpack from Vectron normally before you get here, so that's why I have to do a kind of janky hookshot momentum jump to get up there. And in any percent, you would normally after you leave an area like that, you would go to the pause menu and select self-destruct, which kills you and brings you back to town. However, we can't do that in 4 gold stars because that counts as a death. So we cannot self-destruct to death warp back to more convenient spots. So we take the tube back to the Oasis, get that secret under the Oasis entrance, and right here is a secret path to the Temple of the Destroyer. It's actually a secret path halfway into the Temple of the Destroyer, so normally you're supposed to get the hook shot and then go through the windy plains and then enter the temple from the entrance, but we're literally entering the temple halfway through. And the reason I haven't bought anything is because I'm saving my money for this. So I bought a new jackhammer and more bag space. And the reason for that is because when you get the new jackhammer, it not only breaks blocks faster, but also it comes with new cog mods. So each upgrade to the main abilities has their own unique cog mods. So this level 2 jackhammer not only breaks blocks faster, Jesus, but it also comes with the cog mods to speed up its wind up. So the jackhammer takes a while to wind up, but if you take that cog mod, it winds up faster. And also slower wind down, so the jackhammer doesn't stop as soon as it does. So it allows us to keep digging basically indefinitely, and it's really good. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them, because I know it sounds like I'm not making any sense. Right now we're just going through the Temple of the Destroyer for the second half, buying the stuff we need. And what I just bought there was the level 6 armor. So you need to be level 6 before you even enter the Temple of the Destroyer, because at level 6 you unlock a cog mod called Vidar Boots, or Vidar Boots, whatever. And what it does is it gives you lava resistance, so you can jump into lava and be completely unscathed for a few seconds, and it recharges every time you leave the lava. So normally when you get to this temple, you're supposed to have upgrades that let you basically fly over the lava pits. A big lava pit actually that blocks the entrance to one of the big areas in this temple. And you're supposed to have the jetpack by then. You're supposed to have gone to the bottom of the mine and gotten the jetpack from Vectron and stuff, but it's much faster to leave Vectron for later, because there's a lot of ore in this early like part of the temple. It's really far better to just do this right now than to leave it to like the mid game or whatever. We just get it out of the way early. Right here we use the lava resistance to dip under the lava for a bit without taking too much damage to get this cog mod early. And that is actually intended. You're intended to have the lava resistance to even get that. And And now we're moving on to the second boss, which is the Prophet of Doomsday, or the Doomsday Prophet, or Apocalypse, or whatever. He's basically a crazy cultist. So the story of this game is that Rusty, the generators that we're destroying are not actually Doomsday devices. They're actually helping. We're just being manipulated into destroying them by Rosie. But what they actually are is they're devices built by Rusty to keep the planet from exploding. However, these devices also cause earthquakes, and there's a cult of crazy robots that worship Rusty as like a god of death. They're like basically, they're literally a doomsday cult. They worship Rusty to bring about the end of the world. So we just killed their prophet right there as a boss fight. And that opens the way to this next upgrade, which is the Ignition Axe. So now our axe can light torches and set things on fire, and that's actually pretty useful. So these golems right here, this big robot guy, they will not activate until they have touched fire. This is normally taught to you at the beginning of the temple, and you're normally like light free torches by destroying blocks and letting lava shots from lava shooters hit the torches for you, because you obviously can't set things on fire yourself. But now we have the Ignition Axe, and we can kind of ignore all that. So when we revisit this area later on, we won't need to do any of that shit. We can just hit things with our axe. So right here, we're just right here is actually a pretty subtle secret. You might notice that this is actually a brick block among all the other like temple tiles. It's actually a secret. You need to lure the golem over here so it can be a platform for you to stand on and break that. I also applied another cog mod while I was in town, which makes right here, this was actually a mistake in my PB. I forgot to light this lamp earlier. So, you know, just a few seconds lost, no big deal, but it did happen. I forgot to light that lamp earlier and I had to go back for it. So I need to light the free torches to let that switch be active so I can pull it and enter into the generator. But it's not actually a required generator. This generator right here is not actually needed to beat the game. You can completely ignore this. But the reason we get it is because it gives a lot of XP. And we need a lot of XP to spare. And also because there's a secret to the left of this generator that we'll need to get later. So we need to open this path regardless, because it also opens the path to the secret treasure chamber. And we just go ahead and destroy the generator because even though it's technically not necessary to beat the game, it still counts towards secrets. So we need to get it. And what you saw right there was, I'll explain that later. Hold on, this second section is actually pretty difficult. So I'm gonna get this ore right here on the right by jumping over the lava pit with my double jump. Like I said, you're normally supposed to have the jetpack here, and then we're gonna do a physics exploit. We're gonna hook shot and double jump to get a ton of speed and height, and use the hookshot momentum to hook ourselves up to this lava corridor. So yeah, you need the jetpack normally, but using hookshot momentum and preserving that speed and a very precise double jump, you need like a very high double jump. You can get up here way earlier. And actually, I have to be careful because I have lava resistance, but I can't just jump on lava all willy-nilly, because as you can see, the golems are pretty difficult to avoid. And the reason I can't touch them, like I can't damage boost off them, is because they do 2.5 hearts of damage each. And the lava does 1 damage if I stay in it long enough, and I only have 6 hearts, so I need to be careful. Even with lava resistance, it's very, very easy to just straight up die there. So now, we're using our lava boots to jump across the lava. So if you press the A button right as you land on the surface of the lava, you can jump back out of it without like draining your charge or whatever for the Vidar boots. And with that, you can get over this lava pit without getting damaged. Well, except for a few mandatory damage boosts that you have to do. The first one is coming up right here. This stack of blocks is too low to the lava to like jump under, so you have to like dip under and actually swim under the lava to get past it. But that time you spend swimming under the lava actually is enough for the Vidar boots to temporarily run out, and you have to take damage. So it's 2 hearts for the first damage boost, and then 1 heart there. So if you're doing that lava corridor, you need at least 4 hearts to survive the trip. So not only are the lava resistant boots only unlocked with level 6 health, but you also need level 6 health to even get there. So it ends up working itself out. What I also equipped, okay, so this is basically a giant farming section. It's a huge open area with lots of money, and we need to get it. We need to get all the money. Not only to buy upgrades and make the run faster, but also because, like I said, we need so much money in the game anyway to fulfill the requirements of the category that we might as well get everything. So what you might have noticed earlier is that I actually equipped a cog mod called the Portal of Pardon, and what it does is that it unlocks when you have like a certain level bag or something, and what it does is that if you're standing still outside of a dungeon and on solid ground, you can go back to town for free. Like, you can just straight up teleport back to town to sell things without using a transport tube or without self-destructing. So it's basically a self-destruct, but you can do it anywhere, and you don't lose any ore for it. You just get teleported back to town with all your money, or with all your minerals. So it's actually incredibly useful. So there's a reason we get bag upgrades very early on. It's not only for the extra space, though that also helps. I had a bit of trouble with this fucking wizard guy blowing up the blocks. It's really annoying. This part is really annoying. So, as you can see, I'm also running out of light. So you have a fire meter in the upper left, and when that runs out, you're just left in darkness like this, and you can't really see all the tiles that are around you. And we're actually... we're gonna get a few lamp upgrades later, but not because we need to see, but actually because of something else completely different. So this door right here is the Sun Armory. It's in the middle of this area, and it gives us the Ultra Composite Armor. And the Ultra Composite Armor, it reduces damage taken, that's it. And it's actually very useful, because we're going to be taking damage a lot. Any percent also gets this, because the final boss is just ridiculous. It's absolutely stupid to do the final boss without this armor. And to do the final boss fast, you need to take so many damage boosts that if you didn't have this armor, you just straight up die. So the 30 seconds or whatever to get this detour item is very, very, very well worth it, even in any percent. Even in any percent where you can die, obviously dying is not very good because you lose so much time. So, you know. Right here, we're just getting as much money as possible. And the reason I don't go to town and sell everything immediately is because, different from the first game, you don't sell things at a fixed value. You sell the total minerals that you have, but you also get a bonus depending on the level that you're at. So every level up, you gain 5% sell bonus. So like, right now I don't know what my total is exactly, but it's like you sell all the minerals you have for how much they're worth, and then you get X% of that total. And at full level, like when you have max level in this game, you get like 130% bonus to to everything that you get, so it's really, really good to get levels in this game. Like, any percent doesn't get much because any percent does not need that much money, but absolutely in this category you want to be as max level as possible. Because you obviously get more money with less effort the more percentage bonus you have. These wizard guys, these like grand priests or whatever the fuck, that do these cross fire patterns, they're really fucking annoying because they take free damage or free hits from the ignition axe to kill, but when you interrupt their attack, when you interrupt their aggro, they like to teleport away immediately, so it's really annoying. Right here is a secret that a lot of people miss. It's at the very top of the area. It's an artifact. It's an in-Korea product manual. The in-game flavor text actually mentions that the instructions are like unclear and the furniture is hard to build or something. So there's a lot of little jokes like that in this game. It's a steampunk game, but you also have to remember that like it takes place on a post-apocalyptic human world. So like all these artifacts, the flavor text is all like it's a rubber ducky, and it'll say it's like a mystical guardian of whatever, and it's pretty damn funny. So right here is just a clusterfuck, as you can tell. There's so much shit going on, so many wizards throwing fucking bullshit at me, and my light's running out. I'm running out of space in my bag. It's just a mess. So, like I said, we're just trying to get money, but also trying to get to the end of this area, because you don't want to spend too much time, you know, dilly-dallying around, because later on in the game, we're gonna get an upgrade that lets you see all minerals on the map. So minerals are not highlighted on the mini-map on the top right, as you can see there. It just shows the blocks and your current location and a dungeon entrances. It does not show you where the money is. So the reason I'm upgrading my bag is because I need it to be a certain level for when I get to Archaea. So Archaea is the standard like mine area at the beginning of the game. It's not like a temple or like a weird underground jungle. It's just a mine with those trilobites, and we're gonna be doing Archaea in one visit. We're not only gonna be getting all the secrets, we're also gonna get a lot of money. And you might be thinking, how are you gonna get money? It's the first area in the game, right? Like, all the ore in there is worthless, isn't it? Well, it is. Like, when all the ore in Archaea, I think the average like ore is worth $1 or $2 maybe. So we just have barely enough money to buy this bag, which unlocks Hobo King, the Hobo King cog mod. And what Hobo King does is that, okay, first we're gonna deal with this generator first, at the very end of the Temple of the Destroyer. We started halfway through the temple, and now we've made it to the end, where we can get the device. So what the Hobo King cog mod does is that for any ore under $10 in value, like if you get ore that is worth like $1, you will get that ore plus like $10 because it gives you the value to compensate. You instantly gain money. You don't have to sell it. So like you see, I get the Trashium, which is worth $1, but I also get $10 instantly added to my total. So as you can probably tell, you can get a lot more money from the early game ore if you just do this right now. And also, I applied a cog mod to my jackhammer called Slipstream Jet. And what it does is as you can see, it pulls you forward whenever the jackhammer breaks through a block. So instead of like breaking a block and then falling and then breaking the next one, you can literally like, look at this shit. It's amazing. You can just completely, it's just completely insane. You can move really, really quickly. And we're just basically annihilating these early game areas by using the jackhammer, which you're not supposed to have here. and also having Slipstream Jet. So so it might seem really weird, but we're doing the first area of the game like 36 minutes in. Takes a while for us to get to the actual beginning of the game, ignoring sequence breaks. Right there I applied a cog mod to get water faster from pools. So just to speed up when I have to refill my water. Because the jackhammer does drain water, as you can see. It's exactly like the drill in SteamWorld Dig. You have your health, which is obviously your life. You have your water, which fuels all your gadgets. Or not all your gadgets, but most of them, like the pressure bomb, the jackhammer, etc. And then you have your light, which lets you see around you. We're doing the first little dungeon of Archaea here, the Cave and Catacomb. We can skip that little first puzzle there by just doing a double jump around the rock. So we trigger the cave in there so all of these rocks fall. There is a way to squeeze in between the falling rocks and get to this thing on the right here faster, but it's so goddamn risky and it saves basically no time. And you might be wondering, well, what's wrong with that? Well, you can probably guess, but if you get crushed by a rock in this game, it's an instant death. Like, no matter where you are, if you get crushed by a rock, big or small, you're dead. And that has killed so many runs, because you're just digging and you accidentally cause a rock to fall that you didn't intend to, and what happens is you just get fucking annihilated out of nowhere. You're just blindsided by a boulder falling on you and crushing you to death. So that's very, very bad. And that's actually part of the reason why we actually get some lamp upgrades, because there is a lamp upgrade later on in the game that that if there is space, like if there is a free tile right adjacent to where you would have gotten crushed by the rock, it like automatically dodges you to the right or to the left or whatever. It automatically dodges you out of the way of the rock if in the scenario that you were gonna get killed. So we equip that just for safety, and it has saved my ass on a couple occasions, where like I would have gotten crushed by a rock, but because I had that cogbot enabled, which is called Gordon Reflexes, it just saved me. It saved my run because I didn't end up dying. So another good thing about the map is that when you pause, it actually tells you the percentage of secrets that you have. So I check my current percentage of secrets every time I have to remember where a secret is and whatnot. And I'm just doing all the dungeons that I come across. So this is Prickly Panorama. You're supposed to destroy the cactus on the bottom there and create a huge chain reaction, but if you have upgraded pressure bomb, your range is actually big enough for you to just shoot one of the blocks early. So we've made it all the way back to the below the wall tube, which is one of the very first tubes we opened in the run. So as you can see, that's how, or no, that's above the wall. So that's not even below the wall. So you can see how much digging you would have to do in a casual playthrough to get there. But we thankfully opened that way earlier. We still have to dig through all of Archaea because obviously we need all the money we can get, we need all the secrets, we need to do all the caves, or they're actually not dungeons, they're actually caves that the game calls them. So yeah, we need to do all the caves, we need to get all the money, and just basically, you know, 100% the game. I think I'm pausing here because... Actually, I have no idea why I paused here. I don't even remember what I did in my PB to pause for this long. But thankfully it does not affect my time. I think I was just looking at the map, actually. I might have been looking at the map or doing something else, I don't know. I think I'm... It's strange. What caused me to pause this long? Oh well, I guess we'll just have to wait. I love in-game time, don't you? I legitimately don't remember why I paused for this long. I guess I was just looking at something. I think I was just double checking my secrets because I have killed runs by not getting all the secrets on accident and like forgetting something. So this is Trilobite Bluff. You need to get these Trilobites. You need to open the doors for them so that they step on buttons to open doors for you to get this thing. You can actually enter and get that cog in one fell swoop before the button like runs out and opens the door again. Right here, secret on the left, right next to this tube. So as you can see, this is where you normally would find Yarrow, is by going through that path on the upper left right there. You're introduced to the first area of Yarrow by going there, and only later do you get to the actual area. So most of this is brick blocks at this depth in the area, so you do need to be careful with that. I think this is probably one of the biggest mistakes of the run. I think I fucked up this cave. I don't know. I think I'll have to see how it turns out. But there's an artifact right here at the bottom, and then you have to quickly climb back up. And okay, I didn't fuck up the cave, I think. Yeah, I didn't. You have to quickly climb back up and get up there before the blocks collapse and make it impossible. So, in order to fully 100% this cave, you need to get that first try. Otherwise, you just throw yourself off the edge, which does not count as a death. It just counts as a void out. So you just respawn at the entrance of the cave and try again. And if you mess up that cave, it's like, what, 30 seconds lost. So it's pretty costly. So once we get past the oasis, I'm not going to be getting much money. I'm going to be just digging straight down. And there is a reason, because these birds are fucking goddamn motherfucker pieces of shit. And I hate them. So they actually do a fuck ton of damage. Or not a fuck ton of damage, but they take way too long to kill. And they are really, really annoying. And they just do a lot of damage way too fast. And the best course of action is to just not deal with them, because the experience is not worth it. And there's not much ore in that part anyway. So it's not even worth it to like deliberately look for money at that part. You just fucking dig straight down, get the money that you can without wasting too much time, and just get the fuck out of there. Thankfully, it's the only part of Arcade where those birds actually appear. I think after a certain depth, the birds stop spawning, or the birds don't become enemies anymore. So right there, I let those two rocks fall because there's a secret under the little area with the tube in it. Right here, there's a ton of trilobites. So what I do is I dig them before they wake up, and that instantly kills them and gives me the 50 XP. So 50 XP isn't a whole lot, but when you multiply it over the course of like dozens of enemies, it actually does add up. So I'm not only trying to get money, but I'm also trying to kill enemies. So it's a bit of multitasking. Normally you're not focused on killing enemies because they're usually they usually take too long for not enough for like, so that's not really worth it. So right here we're entering the bottom of the mine, and I quickly hook shot to the left here because there's a secret cog. A secret cog that you're normally supposed to get with the jetpack. So I was talking about Vectron, and it's where you get the jetpack and stuff. So we're actually gonna do Vectron now. Vectron is a special area in the game because it's where you get the jetpack, or you need to complete it to get the jetpack anyway. It has money, but there's not actually any secrets in the area. It's just a one-time area that you do for story reasons. First we get an artifact there, and also a cog right here, I believe. Yeah, there's a breakable block right up there with the forked path. like I said, this game has really subtle secrets sometimes, and like sometimes you might not like think to look around really, and you might miss something. And you might be wondering, well, what are the artifacts for? Are they just for 100%? Actually, no. The artifacts actually do serve a purpose. In town, there's an NPC who is like an archaeologist, robot researcher, and he wants all these ancient artifacts, which are actually just random objects. And when you give him a certain amount, he will actually give you new blueprints for cog mods. And some of the cog mods that he gives you are very, very good. The first one he gives you is the Eye of Odin, which is not very useful. All it does is show you the health of enemies when you hit them with a pickaxe. But the second one, or not the second one of his upgrades that we want to get is the More Hoarders map, which when you equip it, it shows you... Oh, hello, Chris. How you doing? So when you equip the More Hoarders map, it highlights all pieces of ore on the entire map. And obviously that's very useful in a category where you need to get as much money as you can. So we don't have to... Once we get that upgrade, we don't have to waste time looking for stuff. We can just follow the map and we'll be fine. So this is Vectron. I forgot to explain it, but yeah, it's a one-time area where I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's like robot ghosts or whatever the hell. And there's a little cutscene here with this blue screen that you have to go through. Anomaly detected. I'm doing pretty fine, Chris. Doing pretty good. Just doing this commentary to put on YouTube. Because I like doing commentaries for my runs. So, as you can see, there's not very much ore in this place. But here's the main gimmick of Vectron. So, when you get too close to these robots, the blue spirit things will go into them, and it's basically a Metal Gear Solid chase sequence. So, no, you're not disturbing at all. In fact, I like having someone to talk to when I'm doing this. If you have any questions about the run too, you can ask them and I'll answer them. So, I have to be careful because it might just seem like, oh, well, can't you just... This is a speed run, right? Can't you just haul ass and just trip all the alarms? No, you can't, because these robots do an obscene amount of damage, and it's absolutely insane to just completely go completely YOLO here. You cannot trip the alarm very much. You should get at least 4 pieces of the cryptium, which is the ore that you see at the bottom of the screen. Each is worth $50 each, so that's already like $200 you get just from visiting Vectron. But yeah, I just want to get those 4 and get the hell out of there. Doing Vectron fast is notoriously difficult. So there is actually an alternate route where we don't do Archaea and by consequence Vectron until we have an upgrade that revives you after death. So if your health hits 0, that upgrade instantly replenishes you to full health and prevents you from dying right there. I used to do that route, but now I do this riskier route where you don't have a guaranteed revive. So you just have to be a little more careful with the robots. You can't be too ballsy and take too much damage. So now we got the fabled jet engine, the gadget that you normally skip in any percent. So as you can see, it's quite literally just a jetpack that you use to get more height. But as you also can see by the bar there, it overheats, so you can't use it for too long. But the more upgrades you give this thing, the better it becomes. And with a later upgrade that we're gonna get, it basically gives you infinite fuel with this thing. So right now we're gonna get the last secret of Archaea, the last 2 secrets. It's this pit right here. This pit with a bunch of spikes. And this is actually the intended method. You're supposed to do this when you get the jet engine. Obviously, if you look at this, it's just ridiculous to do this without. Right there, just a secret cog in an alcove. I can damage boost off the spikes, and it like counts as ground for a bit and recharges a bit of my jet engine. So just a little bit of damage boost to speed it up. And when you jump off walls or you grapple onto walls, it also cools down your jet engine. Oh yeah, sometimes you'll see me get... Okay, Archaea Secret's 100%. So, as you can see, we're done with Archaea. And that's one area done. 4 to go. Or, I think it's 4 to go anyway. So, I just purchased the Double Cyclone upgrade for the jet engine. And that gives me not only, like, more opportunities for... Like, fucking... What is it? It gives me, like, more thrust. But it also comes... with a cog mod that I equipped, which is a hover. So like when you're done, when your jet engine overheats and you start falling down, you can actually hold A and you will glide down safely to the ground instead of falling outright. Okay, so I have to open the door for my dog because he wants to leave. Right? Right, but safe. He's gonna go back in like 5 minutes. Or whatever. Anyway, we're doing, we're finally leaving town and going to the Windy Plains. So, at the beginning, we cleared out everything in the West Desert. Or, not everything in the West Desert, but we cleared out the big secret of the West Desert to save time on just not having to go all the way to the left. And now we're in the Windy Plains. And the Windy Plains is where you're supposed to go after getting the hook shot. Because there's like, oh, there's wind pushing you back, and it's like, oh, you gotta hold on to the rocks of your hookshot, man. But like, who gives a shit? Because when you have the jetpack, you ascend so fast that it literally doesn't matter. As you can see, like, look at this. The wind is literally. Thanks, Chris. I actually don't really like my voice, but it's good to know that at least someone out there likes them. So the wind is like super strong here, but as you can see, like, I completely ignored that. Because I have the jetpack. So, we're at the entrance to the Temple of the Destroyer. You might be thinking, oh, okay, so this is how you're supposed to get in, right? And yeah, this is how you're supposed to get in. This is the actual entrance to the level. But the nice thing about doing the temple backwards is that now... so I equip the Pocketed Frere, which lets me store 1 extra ore per slot. And I also equip the More Hoarders map. So now I can see, as you can see in the mini-map on the top right, I can see all the ore in the map and get it accordingly. So now we're going to do Yarrow. We opened the Temple of the Destroyer, but it's actually better to leave that for the end of the run. It's better to leave the Temple of the Destroyer to the end of the run and do that, like, when we have everything else finished. And just do Yarrow now. Because, there's actually something very important to that. It's faster for one very good reason, is that in Yarrow, you're supposed to have the jetpack by this point, right? So by the time you even get to Yarrow, the game assumes, okay, you have the jetpack. So, there's an upgrade in one of the caves here that is the Aeronauts Station. And the upgrade to the Aeronauts Station is like, I forget the name of it, but... I'll remember it when I get to the item, but it's basically, it lets you damage enemies and kill them instantly while you're ascending with the jetpack. So while you're flying with the jetpack, you can literally, you can break dirt blocks instantly and also kill enemies instantly. And so that's very, very useful because you get this on the first visit of Yarrow, which is good. And so you just do everything in one visit. The alternate route that I was talking about that does Vectron later, you actually do 2 visits of Yarrow. The first visit, you just dig straight down and get to the generator and blow it up. And the second one, you clean everything up by getting all the caves, all the ore, everything. But it's better to just do everything in one clean run and just not have to revisit the entire area, because it's just unnecessary backtracking. You're going through the same area twice anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm playing this on PC. This run is done on the PC version, but there's no difference between versions. I'm just playing PC because it's what I own. It's the version of the game that I have. This game does not have any console differences. It's on Switch, it's on PS4, it's on Xbox One, it's on Steam, and it has no differences because we run this off in-game time, so loads don't matter. Right there, I manipulate the shot of these purple things into destroying the block on the left. I think that's the intended method, but I'm not entirely sure. There is an upgrade which lets you shoot pressure bombs in midair, and it also works when you're swimming underwater, because when you're underwater, the game considers you to be in midair. So you can also do it that way, and that's actually one of the benefits of doing that. One of the rare benefits of doing the baby route is that by the time you get to here, you actually have that ability to shoot pressure bombs in midair, and you can also it makes that you can also get like aquatic regenesis or something. That's only casually, I believe, which refills your health when you're underwater. Can I ask? Sure. Feel free to ask. So I'm buying more health, because these snails are actually the bane of my existence. These snails can very easily kill you, especially in any percent. They do a lot of damage. It's kind of like the birds in Archaea, but they're way worse because they shoot free projectiles and then they fucking roll around and just cause it a huge mess. And when they roll into a block, they will break it in one hit, no matter how strong the block is, unless it's a brick block. But yeah, these snails are really, really fucking annoying. But the problem is, I can't just ignore them like I can't the birds, right? Because these snails, especially with the double XP mod that I have on, the double XP upgrade, they give you 300 XP per kill. Can you add me on Steam? Oh, absolutely. I'll post my Steam ID after I'm done with this. So if anybody wants to add me on Steam, they can add me on Steam. Absolutely. So the fucking snails, they give you 300 XP, which is a lot. And if you've kept an eye on the XP bar at the top of the screen, you might notice that I'm at like what, level 12 right now or something, and the max level in this game is level 20. So like I said, I want to maximize the level I am in the entire game without wasting time. So I'm not gonna go like completely out of my way to gain experience when I don't need to, but I will, like, if there's enemies to be killed, then I will kill them, because I want to be the highest level possible at any given moment because of the sell bonuses, so I can gain more money faster. And I also applied a cog mod so that every block I break with a pressure bomb will actually give me half a bar of water back. This is just so I don't run out of water prematurely if I have to shoot a grenade at something to get like ore or whatever. It's just a precaution, but it really helps. Also, these dirt blocks, they actually regenerate after a certain amount of time. So we're actually to the first like mandatory dungeon of the game, which is right here, the Leaky Lodge. You cannot progress further into Yarrow without completing this cave. There's no way to do it because there's a rock that blocks your way, also an artifact under that rock. and you can only break those rocks by triggering a chain reaction, like these blocks right here on the ceiling. You can only do that by getting to the exit of the cave, so you have to complete the cave. Obviously the cave has secrets, so we need to get this cave regardless, but even any percent cannot skip this cave. Like I said, any percent doesn't have fancy glitches or whatever to skip content besides the usual sequence breaks that probably were intended by the developer anyway. But it, like, any percent has to do this cave because it needs to get to the end of the arrow anyway. So right here we're just making blocks fall to get to the next part. There's also plenty of ore. In addition to the secrets, there's also ore that we need to get. And the Leaky Lodge has one of the scariest parts of Yarrow, which is what I like to call the snail trail. So at the very end of this, right there, I pushed that snail into the acid, so he died without me having to attack him. I just used my hook shot to push him off the edge. But yeah, at the end of this fucking cave, there's a... First, there's a secret right here. There's a cog under there, under this sequence of dirt patches. There's a part at the end where there's like 8 snails or something right here in like side chambers. Okay, I fucked up. This is actually a pretty big mistake. I mean, for a 2-hour run, I'm happy with that kind of mistake, but still a mistake. So there's these snails right here in the dirt chambers in the walls, and you might be thinking, well, why the fuck are you killing these snails? And XP, my boy, we need XP as much as we can get it. And I think that was like, what, 6 snails? Or 5, I don't know. I wasn't counting, but yeah, we need to kill these snails. Oh, it was 6, I think. So we need to kill all these snails, and as you can see, look at this. It's just a fucking pandemonium. I mean, it's impossible. And like I said, the snails do so much damage. It's actually absurd. So it is completely realistic to actually die. Like, look at that. I went into here with almost full health, and I'm like at 1 heart right now. I'm at 1 heart. And just to be safe, I stuck a pressure bomb on that snail so I would not have to get close to it at all. So, but thankfully there's a tube right above the cave entrance, so I can go back to town. And when you go back to town, you get health and water and light completely refilled. So if you're about to die, just simply take a portal or a tube back to town. It'll heal you up completely. You don't even have to sell anything if you don't have much to sell even. Sometimes I use that as a tactic in any percent. Like, I'm at a low health. Oh, just take a tube back to town for like 2 seconds. I barely waste any time too. So it's very, very useful. Sorry for the cough. Smiky snails, yes. They're very annoying enemies, but they're also snails, so I know you like them. Chris is the biggest weird animal enthusiast I know. So we're just digging down here, and this is also a pretty scary part because fucking rocks, man. Because, like I said, if you get crushed by a rock, it's game over, you're dead, your run's basically over. And if that happens, it's fucked. You're just fucked, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I have to be. Look at that. There are rocks falling everywhere. So I have to be very careful. Right here, secret, under this platform, there is an artifact. So you need the jetpack to get that. But again, the game assumes you have the jetpack here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And look at this, the game assumes you have like a level 1 jetpack or something when you get to here, and you can basically ignore 99% of the platforming because you go so far up so fast, and when you bounce on one of those purple slime things, it actually replenishes your jetpack. It like recharges it, so it's pretty good. So right here we have to wait for these purple things to explode. to clear the way. Health refill right at the end of the cave. You'll sometimes see on the top left, instead of saving game, it'll display red text, and it'll say failed to save game. I don't know what that's about. Sometimes the game just like fails to save. So I've never seen that happen with anyone but me. I actually didn't even know like that was a thing until I saw it happen to me. I was like, what the fuck? Failed to save game? And I was like, oh god, that can't be good, right? So, yeah. Right here I have to be, like, look at this shit. I just have to be extremely careful to not, like, die. Because these big rocks, they occupy 2 slots. And like I said, if you get crushed, it's over. Completely over. So there's a big rock wall separating this part here. Right here, I grapple onto this to this dirt block on the ceiling and let one of the purple slime things actually hit me, because you're normally supposed to have Ramjet Vigor. There you go. I remember the name of the upgrade. You're supposed to have Ramjet Vigor to break open that block with your jetpack, but you can use that damage boost to just completely ignore that. So I actually went back to town before I found the next tube, and that's because I ran out of space. But thankfully, you can get back to where you were pretty quickly. I mean, not very quickly. I mean, you're still kind of wasting time, but I mean, when most of the path is already cleared out, there's really nothing much you can do except get ore where you missed it. Like, you can clean it up in places where you didn't have the ability to. So, like right here, I'm getting ore that I didn't get earlier when I'm retracing my steps. So it's pretty convenient when that happens. I don't think it ends up wasting like too much time overall. And as long as a rock is standing on at least one block, you will not fall down. So that's why I dig like a block below where the boulders are, because otherwise I'm gonna get fucking killed if I dig right below one. I'm literally just opening the way for it to crush and kill me. So right here on the right is diamond, and you might be wondering, why do you sometimes get like 2 minerals from 1 ore block? That's also a cog mod. So that cog mod is like I think it's called Double Rainbow, and it gives you like a small chance to get 2 ore instead of 1 from a single ore block. And despite what it may sound, it actually happens pretty frequently, and it doesn't affect too much of the run, but it's pretty convenient to like get like when you're getting like valuable ore like ametrine or the diamond or bismuth or imaginite. It's pretty damn convenient to just, you know, just be able to get 2 at a time. So, okay, right here you're also supposed to have Ramjet Vigor to break open these blocks, but again, you can lure the enemies into shooting their projectiles into the block. And I also try to, and those purple shooters also give you 300 XP. That's as much as the snails. And with 1 jackhammer hit, they die instantly. And when you have Ramjet Vigor, they also die instantly when you touch them. Well, most enemies die instantly with Ramjet Vigor. So it's actually pretty convenient to kill them when you can. Because I already said this like a million times, but XP is very important. Like it says, oh, next level 3000 XP. Yeah, if you kill 10 of those shooters, you already got 3000 XP. I mean, I assume that I'm good at math, right? 300 times 10, that's 3000, right? Yeah, it is. So, it actually took a while for me to get the next upgrade, because once you start like getting to certain points, the upgrades start getting like really expensive. So like the average upgrade now is like at least $1,000, and I can't like afford it immediately. So so I bought the last upgrade for the jackhammer. So now my jackhammer is fully upgraded. I bought the Mjolnir drive. So yeah, the Mjolnir drive, it's a pretty badass name for a digging tool. Like, holy shit. Like, what's the name of your shovel? Oh, it's fucking for Odin's son or whatever, but yeah, the jackhammer, the Mjolnir drive gives you the upgrade, which is like, it basically like overclocks your jackhammer, so now your jackhammer punches way faster. Like, you're just basically fisting these rocks to death really, really quickly. Like, as you can see, like the punches per second is just greatly increased, and that speeds up your digging speed. In the earlier route, I actually didn't equip that because I didn't like how fast you moved. But as my time improved, I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, this is speedrun, you gotta go as fast as possible. So, so it's like, why not, you know? So we're just clearing out Yarrow, we're getting close to the bottom of the area now, and we're just getting as much ore as possible. Getting as many enemies as possible. We're actually at the last tube of the area, I believe. We're close to it, which is the mosquito minefield. So the enemies become these little purple mosquitoes, paging Dr. Chris. But actually, go back to an earlier point here, because I forgot this secret. So there is a secret right here, where if you let these rocks fall, they open a passage to this artifact. Thankfully, it's right next to a tube, so if you forget it, like I did here, like even with a map, I still sometimes forget stuff in this game. So, thankfully, it's very, very convenient to go back and get it. That's actually one of the very few times where if you forget something, you can easily go back and get it with minimal time loss. There are not many things like that in this game. Like, if you forget an artifact, it's generally so far out of the way that you're losing a lot of time, and it can be really fucking annoying when you're losing a run, when you lose a run to just forgetting the route, and it's just awful. So the mosquitoes also give quite a fair bit of XP. And all it takes is one hit with the hook shot to actually kill them, because they explode as soon as they enter into contact with a wall. So, yeah, you can just kill them with the hook shot and you get 40 XP for free. And like I said, it may not seem like much, but over time it does add up. I also forgot to do a cave that was up there. You might have seen an entrance to a cave, but I actually didn't get it. Because, I don't know, I guess I was just too focused on the run or something. But there's a cave and a cog right next to the cave that I forgot in this run, but I get it later with minimal time loss. Like I said, you're bound to forget something in the Metroidvania like this sometimes, so it's fine. My PB is still really, really, really good, despite those two mistakes. So now, we made it to the Aeronaut Station. This is where you normally need an upgraded pressure bomb to skip getting this upgrade and the jetpack in any percent, but this is 100%, so we're getting it. So we got Ram Jet Vigor. So now my jetpack is a weapon. So as you can see, it creates this like fireball around you when you use the jetpack, and it kills everything instantly. I got very lucky there. I got a double bismuth drop, which is really lucky because that's literally like doubled one of the most expensive like items in the game. So I'm pretty glad I got that. The only thing better than that is getting a double Imaginite. So as you can see, this jetpack can kill dirt blocks. It can kill enemies instantly, including the snails. So I no longer have to worry about like killing snails with my dinky pickaxe. I can just fly into them with my jetpack, and that takes care of them. And I also got really lucky. I got a lot of ore close to each other here. And another thing I forgot to mention is that this game is not as random as the first game. There's actually very, very little randomness in this game, but the randomness that does exist is, appropriately enough, the ore locations. So all the secrets and caves and cogs and everything will always be in the exact same spots every time. So, so you don't have to worry about nothing being randomized. This is not like a borderline randomizer run where you need really good luck to finish a run, like SteamWorld Dig 1. SteamWorld Dig 1, if you want a PB, you're gonna have to rely a lot on luck, especially in the 4 gold stars category. If you don't get good luck in SteamWorld Dig 1, you are not getting a good time in 4 gold stars in that game. But this game is so much more consistent. It's basically a Metroidvania with everything set in stone, with only a few minor random elements. And those random elements can be mitigated so much because, well, if you're good at the game, you can just adapt, right? It doesn't matter where ore is. There is no like optimal ore placement because you can dig so fast and you can get to where you want to be with so much ease, especially here later in the game, that it's just like it doesn't even matter really. But yeah, I'm getting as much ore as possible. Trying to fill my bag up to the maximum before selling. I mean, that applies to the entire game, really, but also in this area, because there's just a ton of ore. As you can see in the mini-map, there's just so much stuff at the bottom of this part, and it's really, really good to just get as much money as you can. And there's actually no penalty, like, in terms of money for doing this earlier than the Temple of Destruction, or doing this, or doing Arrow, like, after or before or whatever, because the game designers actually, like, they made it so the 3 major areas don't have, like, any major differences in, like, ore, in terms of, like, money. So the average ore in here is worth, like, what, 15, and Temple of Destruction is, like, 16 to 20, roughly. And same for the Temple of Guidance. So like, it doesn't matter which area you complete first. You're basically getting the same amount of money anyway. So that's also really convenient, because it's like, if you want, you can do routes where you do Yarrow last, or you do the Temple of Guidance last, or you do, you know, you can basically mix and match to your liking. Like I said, I got a pretty good time in this category with the baby route that doesn't do Yarrow in one visit, and this run is sub 2, which is what I consider to be my goal in the categories, to get sub 2. But you know, it's also just very convenient. Oh, sorry for the coughing. I bought the bomb there, and the Phoenix armor. So now my pressure bomb is at max, and my pressure bomb is at max, and fucking my health is at max. So I get the bomb because I needed, right there, as you can see, I needed to shoot that block. Otherwise, there's absolutely no way you can get that secret without the mid-air bomb shot. So that's why I left that cave unfinished until now, because if you did this cave before you got the mid-air bomb shot, you would be like, oh, okay, you get the ore, you kill all the mosquitoes, and it's like, yeah, whatever, and you get the cog, but you're still missing an artifact, so you're just gonna have to do the same cave twice, and that's really not worth it. Oh yeah, also, to teleport back to town, you need to be away from enemies, so that's why I couldn't teleport with the mosquito near me, because the game wouldn't let me, because, I mean, that makes sense as, like, from a game design standpoint. It's like, oh, you can't just fucking chicken out and, like, teleport back to town, like, when you're right next to an enemy that's about to kill you or whatever. So You need to be standing on solid ground, and so you can't teleport midair. And you need to be away from enemies, and you can't be in a cave or a dungeon. The game will not let you teleport if you're in a cave. So, if you're in a cave, you need to finish it or leave it to go back to town. Or in any percent's case, you self-destruct. If you self-destruct in a cave, all that happens is the game treats it as if you died in a cave, and it just respawns you at the entrance. So, there's no real advantage to death warps in this game. Any percent only has like a few death warps. That's just to minimize travel time to like really optimize everything. Death warps are usually near tubes, so it only saves like 5 seconds each. But you know, when you're running at 8%, I mean, such a short category, you might as well go for all the time save you can get. I mean, it's any percent, you know. For 100%, you obviously can't self-destruct because that instantly makes your run not valid because you're not getting the 4 gold stars. Because like I said, you need to beat this game with 0 deaths in order to get one of the gold stars. So, for 100% or for 4 gold stars, yeah, you just can't do some stuff that would normally be faster. But once you get the Portal of Pardon, it's basically the same thing. Like, you can exit a dungeon and teleport only like a second later. The only advantage of self-destructing is that you can pause as soon as you leave, whereas the Portal of Pardon, you actually have to wait for it to charge up and become available for you to teleport. That's fine. So, right here is when I noticed that something is amiss. As you can see, the game audio cut out. That's because I clicked away from my game window and scrolled back up to the map because I was like, okay, what the fuck? What am I missing? Because I should have 100% secrets in the arrow by this point, or at least by the time I finished this device. So I very quickly realized what I was fucking. I'm not Eminem. Sorry. I very quickly realized what I'm missing, which is one cave called I think the Lime Loop it is. So I immediately go back to the tube, Mushroom Pond, and the cave that I missed is on the left. So I very quickly just make my way back, retrace my steps, and like right here in like less than 20 seconds I already found where the cave is. Or wait. Yeah, it's right there. So, so like I said, you can forget stuff in this game and still get a good time. Because, like, right here, I forgot totally that this cave existed and that there's a cog under it. Like, here's the cog, actually. It will always be there next to the entrance of this cave. The pool will always be the same layout. And then Lime Loop is just a very short one-screen puzzle. There's secret passages that loop around the screen, and you just do that, and there we go. So, I very quickly check my map. Yarrow secrets 100%. So that's a Yarrow done. And now I believe I'll do a cleanup. Yeah, okay. So the West Desert has a few secrets that I was not able to get earlier. I was able to get the first one, which was the Death Explosions cog. But the West Desert has 2 more secrets. It has that cog right there, and it has the entrance back to the Temple of Guidance. And we're not doing the Temple of Guidance right now. We're just doing this right. We're just getting the Acupuncture Straw Doll right now because this is where you exit the temple normally, like after the tutorial. So, and there's no reason to revisit that boss room. It's so far out of the way in the Temple of Guidance that because most of the secrets in the Temple of Guidance are in the west side, and they're like next to the generator. So it just becomes so incredibly out of the way to get that straw doll. Like when you're doing the Temple of Guidance, you might as well just get it through the shortcut in the West Desert, because there's no point really. I don't really need this ore because ore isn't counted as secrets, only the actual stuff with secret area revealed thing when it appears on screen. Another cave here in the West Desert. This is not intended to be done at the point of the game that I'm right now, because you're not intended to have the Ramjet Vigor or the aerial bomb shot, and so as you can see, I'm literally just cheesing the puzzle because you're supposed to line up and do a bunch of minecart stuff to like make platforms so you can break the blocks manually, but you can literally just fly into them or do aerial bomb shots and it doesn't matter. So West Desert secrets 100% cleared. So the Windy Plains and the West Desert are done. So those are the only two non-main areas done. Archaea is also done. So all we need to do now is clear not only well, we need to clear the Temple of Guidance. We need to get 100% of the secrets here. But we also need to do the Temple of the Destroyer and one last area, which conveniently you do where do you enter the which conveniently you enter halfway through Yarrow. So by technicality, like if you were to really want to save those milliseconds or whatever, you would do Yarrow last, because the entrance to the last area that you need to do, which is the sewers, I believe, is like at the beginning of Yarrow or something. So this is the Chamber of Secrets. No relation to Harry Potter, thank God. I don't really like Harry Potter, but basically, you have to find a bunch of secrets like inside the room to get all the collectibles. So yeah, you need to get all the secrets to get all the secrets, if that makes sense. It's a secret within a secret room. Like this cave is not like mandatory. In fact, we'll get something at the end of this cave that is actually completely optional, but we need to get it because, again, 100%. The game will not count 100% unless all the caves are done. And this is a cave, and getting the item at the end counts as part of the secrets. If you don't get the item, the cave will not have a check mark. So we need to get this to complete the category, even though we actually never use it. This is a completely useless item, but we don't need it. Well, I mean, I guess that's what useless means. I don't know. I'm dumb. So we got the grenade launcher. I know I called the pressure bomb a grenade launcher earlier, but that was just like, I don't know, it's an affectionate nickname. But what this does is it lets you throw, if you hold Y instead of pressing Y, instead of shooting a bomb straight forward, you will actually shoot a rolling bomb that has actual physics and like blows stuff up. As you can see, that the Gordon reflexes, that weird yellow thing, where Dorothy went to the right, that's what happens when you get crushed, but the game won't let you. Even if it's by a box, the boxes won't actually instantly kill you. If you get crushed by them, they'll just break and you'll take a little bit damage. Alright, so we are done with the Temple of Guidance. Secrets 100%. So now we're moving on to the final major area of the game, the Temple of the Destroyer. We need to get all the secrets here, obviously, to get it 100%. And then we'll just move on to do the last small area, and we'll move on to the final boss. And there's a lot of stuff in the Temple of the Destroyer. Like, let me see how much run is left. Yeah, there's like 37 minutes left of the run. And I'd wager that like at least like 25 of those minutes are spent cleaning up the temple. So yeah, just so you know, the current world record in any percent is 25 minutes in game time. So like the amount of time that it takes to clear up this area in 100% is about the time that you could beat the game with like all the sequence breaks and stuff. It's pretty crazy. But I mean, I guess you can make that kind of comparison with like any other game. Like, oh, Banjo-Kazooie 100%. Like by the time you're done, you're halfway done with the game, any percent's already beaten it. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. So there's this fire token right here that's under the lava. The gimmick of this area is that the lava slowly rises up, and you need to be careful with it, and you need to not die. But like I said, lava doesn't kill you. It just deals damage to you until you die. And with the composite ultra armor, or the ultra composite armor, you don't take a full heart of health of damage every time you get hit by the lava, you actually only take half a heart. So you can just dive under the lava and get that fire token earlier than you're supposed to, because normally you're intended to get to the top of the room and then the lava stops rising and then it starts sinking back down, and that's when you're intended to, oh, okay, follow the sinking lava. There's probably something at the bottom of the room, right? Anyway, we lit up this torch. So the Temple of the Destroyer not only has torches that activate the main path with switches and shit, but it also has free secret torches. We need to activate all free secret torches because it opens up a door to an upgrade that we need, which is the long-range grappler. It's actually in the treasure chamber, the very secret treasure chamber. And what it means is that you can't access the treasure chamber without necessarily getting all the torches. So you need to get all three of them to open a door that is actually in the first generator of this temple. That first generator that I opened, we actually do it because it may not be necessary to beat the game in any percent. You can actually skip that generator, that first one. That is not at the end of this temple. It's actually at the beginning, or it's actually halfway through. But we need to get that generator not only for the secrets. Obviously, like I said, the game needs to have check marks on every single cave entrance for it to consider that you've gotten all the secrets, and the actual secrets in the overworld too. But it also, you also need to get the treasure chamber, Ronald's treasure chamber, to get the long-range grappler. So the skip I did earlier to get over the lava pit with the hookshot jump, it's actually really free with the long-range grappler. It like triples the range of your grappling hook, of your hookshot, and that skip is actually extremely easy to do. Sorry, I was drinking water. That trick is actually extremely easy to do if you have the long-range grappler. So you don't have to be a super duper epic speedrunner to get that sequence breaking achievement. You can actually get that achievement in like less than an hour and a half of gameplay, even if by just following the casual route. Once you get to the Temple of the Destroyer, just get the ignition axe as normal, then light up the free secret torches, and then get into the area, and then from there you just you know, you get to the generator and beat the game. But for the achievement to count, you need to not enter Vectron. Like if you get the jet engine, the achievement is not valid, obviously, because the achievement is to beat the game without going to Vectron. Is the whole point of the achievement is to do a sequence break. So yeah, you know, actually there's a video on YouTube showing you how to do that casual route to get the achievement if you're interested. But let's be honest, speedrunning, doing it the speedrunner way is far more fun. Like you get to do that route and beat the game in an hour faster. Any percent for this game is actually pretty difficult. The hardest part about 4 gold stars is not like raw execution. It's just routing and adaptation, and just, you know, good management of the route. Any percent is technically more difficult, I believe. It's like mechanically harder because you never get the jetpack, so your movement is always limited. And the final boss is really, really difficult in any percent. Like, it's legitimately the hardest part of the run is the final boss in any percent, especially if you want to do fast. But yeah. So, you might be thinking, well, how can you tell that you have $15,000 in total if the game does not keep track of it? Well, you buy every upgrade except the pickaxe, which you only get 1 upgrade of, and then the lantern. So you only buy lamp upgrades until you get Gordon reflexes, and then you only get the pickaxe at the beginning to speed up the early game. That's it. And after that, you do not need any more lamp or pickaxe upgrades, but you do need everything else. So a good route is actually $15,000 is equal to every upgrade except every upgrade you get in the run plus like 1,000 or so, more or less. So if you follow this upgrade route, if you get everything except the pickaxe and the lamp, and then just get extra money, like a 1,500 more dollars after that, after you've bought everything, then you're pretty likely to have the total amount that you need to beat the category. So this cave is called the Floor is Lava, and there's actually 2 layers to this. First is the obvious one that you can't touch any of the buttons on the floor. But also, if you do the whole cave in one run without touching any buttons, because normally you can reset the doors, right, with the switches. So if you fuck up, you can try again without doing the whole cave over again. You need to do that without messing up once, without like touching any of the buttons, to gain access to that red scarf artifact. And those crushing hands actually do not kill you instantly when you get crushed by them. Only boulders do. So boxes will not kill you instantly when you get crushed. Those metal hands will not kill you instantly when you get crushed for some reason. Even if you're on the conveyor belt and there's like basically no space, and if you don't even have Gordon reflexes, you'll just not die. It'll just deal damage to you. I guess that's a way to reduce frustration because it's pretty easy to get crushed by those hands. So anyway, because we're doing the temple kind of backwards, we can get this this torch right here before you're even supposed to get the ignition axe. So if you remember, the ignition axe is actually further into this area, but you don't need it. I mean, you do need it, but not in the speed run. You don't need to do this whole temple twice. So there's an artifact hidden under those crushers. You'd be like, okay, why are there crushers there, right? If there's nothing underneath. Yeah, there's actually an artifact there. So this is the lava drippers. There's a lot of ore here, but there's also it's also very difficult because there's lava drippers for one, so it makes sense that that like you'll be taking damage all the time, but it's just very difficult to navigate. It's very difficult to get everything, and with the jetpack you can just completely ignore most of the puzzles here, because you're supposed to do this area before you even get the jetpack. So a lot of the platforming here, like, you're normally supposed to do all this with the hook shot and like raw platforming skill. Like normally this would be way harder if you didn't have the jetpack. Secret up here. Like I said, this game has secrets in every corner, so be sure to check everything, at least for an artifact and a cog. And you do need a lot of cogs. In any percent you only get 5 because you don't need that many upgrades, but in 100% you have like 77 cogs, or in 4GS you have 77 cogs, and it's more than you honestly know what to do with at the end of the game. So you sometimes just apply it to random shit because it doesn't really matter at that point. And you actually cannot blow open these brick blocks with the pressure bomb unless you get a cog mod for it. There's a cog mod for the pressure bomb that I'm not sure if I applied in this run specifically, but it lets you destroy brick blocks with the pressure bomb, whereas normally you could not damage these blocks at all with anything but the jackhammer. So there's another cave right at the bottom of this, the concrete corridor, as I like to call it. It's technically called the lava dripper hallway in game, but I just call it the concrete corridor because it's made of nothing but brick blocks. If you go behind those crushers there, another secret cog. If you've played adventure games for any significant amount of time, you know that secrets like that are pretty obvious. But yeah. And I do have the lava resistance boots, but without them, the lava would actually deal damage to you instantly, and it would keep dealing damage to you when you were in it and when you were touching it, even after jumping out. So you can only like jump across lava with these boots. Otherwise, you'll just be taking constant damage, and without the composite armor, you'll just be dead quickly. There's actually, I mean, any percent usually gets the boots before it has to do lava jumps, but sometimes you'll have only 5 hearts doing the lava corridor or the golems very early on, and that can be an absolute pain because, well, I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Like, you would pretty much have to make extra effort not to die, and it would be incredibly difficult and also way slower because you would be doing safe strats to, you know, avoid getting killed and losing your run. So that's the lava corridor done. By far the most obnoxious part of this entire area is just that part, but it's over now. So right here, another artifact, the weird looking stone. It's like those things from Animal Crossing. I forgot the name of it, but right here, game audio cut out because I was clicking on my map, which is on my second monitor. And right here, I did not forget to do this. The third torch is lit. It's lit, fellas, and now the switch is active and we can get into the treasure chamber where the long-range grappler awaits. But first, there's actually, I believe I forgot something. I may have forgotten something. Or I don't know. I don't think I forgot anything. I do remember that I forgot a different secret, but that's not it. I'm thinking of something else. So Grim Hollow, like I said, you're supposed to not have the jetpack here, so you can not only kill these guys, but you can ignore the puzzles. Like right there, I shot a bomb at the thing, but you're not supposed to shoot at in midair. And there's also parts here where you have to like find alternate ways to set these golems on fire. Like you would have to break that block to let the lava drip onto him and wake him up. But I already have the ignition axe, so that's not necessary. So I can just whack him and then go. And then I believe the rest of this cave is a puzzle where you need to lure these guys to shoot fire, to shoot their crossfire rate through these blocks. So like you're supposed to clear those blocks on the left at the right time so that when they shoot their fire, the fireball goes through and hits the golem. But you can thankfully just, I mean, we're doing this thing entirely out of order, so you can just hit the columns with your ignition axe and skip all that. It's way faster. So that's Grim Hollow done. It's one of my least favorite caves to do in this this run. My least favorite being Minecart Madness, but you'll see that later. The whole thing with Minecart Madness, it's another one of those minecart puzzles, but it's by far the most complicated one in the game. Like, the other I always said Minecraft. The other minecart puzzles do not require nearly as much, like, stuff, I don't know, because you have to do it with 3 different minecarts at 3 different elevations to clear the path to the goal or whatever, and it's just fucking obnoxious, and I hate it. Right there, I portal a pardon because there's a tube right underneath me, and I can just go back to where I was very quickly. So I buy the Nautilus 2, which is the max water tank. So now I go back. I don't know why I went back to the Golem altar, actually. But I upgrade. I actually put my cogs mods a little differently now. So I activated the magnet thing. I think it's called the Strange Attractor or something. But what it does is it's just a magnet. It attracts all minerals to you. So if a mineral is just dropped on the ground, like right there, it'll just gravitate towards you. So it's really cool. Right now I don't need much money, I believe. I don't think so. I don't know. So I don't know why I'm doing this, I guess. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I think I ended up... I mean, it's better to be over than to be under. Honestly, that's my philosophy. It's like, okay, it may seem like I've had enough, but... oh no, actually, I don't have nearly enough, because I finished this run. Because this run is not even close to done. There's still so much money left that I get. And even with all that extra money, I only end up with like 17k out of the 15k that I need. So yeah, the money route is kind of tight, if you don't know what you're doing. So... you can have like a perfect run where you think you got everything, and you did. You got like 100% of the secrets, but you were short on money, so you didn't get the money gold star. Or sometimes you'll get everything except you forgot something, like you forgot a secret somewhere, and you'll end up at like 99% secrets, and it's just it's a fucking stab to the heart, man. It's just awful. It just feels like really, really bad to lose a run to forgetting something or fucking up the route or what have you. So this is why I really like this category, like to run it. It's really cool. It's just constant movement and routing and stuff, but it's also very stressful because you need to remember so much stuff, and if you forget even one little thing, it's basically over, because the chances that you'll remember what you forgot are not very high unless you have the map. Even then, sometimes it may seem like you've gotten everything, but sometimes the map lies to you or whatever. Or, I don't know, maybe you just missed a spot. Maybe you just didn't pay enough attention, but... I guess that's the, I guess that's the sad part about running Metroidvania 100%. It's like, yeah, eventually you're gonna forget something, right? I mean, it's only natural. But yeah, that cave is done. But the temple is not done yet, not even close. So I'm going down through the Hanging Lava Gardens, and you might remember this is where we first entered the Temple of the Destroyer, was through the Hanging Lava Gardens. We entered through the Golem Altar and then descended down to the end of the temple. Well, now we're basically caught up to where we left off, or to where we originally started. So all we have to do now is not only get this in the treasure chamber, but there's a secret path right here. This is actually where the long-range grappler is. There's a secret path in the ceiling. One of the tiles does not look like the others. It's actually a face instead of a weird symbol. And it's a secret path. And a lot of people casually like get to here and they're like, "What the fuck? You know, I spent all that effort just to get like ore that's worth $1, and they forget to check the room, and they don't like actually complete the treasure chamber. They don't get the long range grappler, they don't get the free cogs and the ametrine there, and it's just, you know, whatever. Now we're teleporting to the Grand Lava River. So this is where the Ramjet Vigor really comes in handy. As you can see, you can just sort of, yeah, this is the way you're intended to do this section, is just like fly through everything, because at this point you're supposed to have it, right? You're supposed to have the jetpack and have done Yarrow at one point, because I think that's the intended order of events, because this game actually does tell you what your next objective is. This game actually does have, like, it does guide you to where you're supposed to go. It's not like most Metroidvanias, which kind of just throw you out in the open and you gotta figure it out. This game actually does have, it literally tells you on the map where you're supposed to go next. It tells you what your next objective is. It tells you when you should go talk to Rosie, where you should go, etc. So it's actually a very, very light Metroidvania in that regard. But it's still really, really fun. It's a pretty linear game. I mean, if you look at it that way, it's pretty linear. But it's still a very great game. And I highly recommend playing it, even if you're not gonna speedrun it or whatever. I just highly recommend the game. It's great. It's got a great soundtrack, great dialogue, great humor, great art style, you know, great gameplay. It's just a fantastic game, you know. It sold the best on Switch because, you know, indies are all the rage. But yeah, this part right here, this is the cave called Infernal Crates, and as you can see, you just have to use the switches to control the conveyor belts to like control how fast these crates go, so you can further mount up buttons to open the doors. That first one that I did before I did either of those to push the buttons was for the Holy Toast artifact. Like, again, almost every cave in this game has an artifact that you can get by just doing a weird side objective in the cave itself. It's usually harder than the main objective, or some kind of spin on it, or, you know, it's just a hidden block or whatever. But so yeah, this cave is done, and the artifact that I got was the Holy Toast, which is just a piece of bread with Jesus' face on it. So yeah, it's pretty funny. This game has some pretty funny stuff in it. I mean, the whole like main villains of the game are the Doomsday Cult and whatnot. It's really funny. Like, all these skeleton robots that I'm killing, they're actually like Doomsday cultists. They worship Rusty or whatever to bring about the apocalypse, and you'll see at the end of the game that the apocalypse does come, but it's a bit less biblical and more like sci-fi. It's more of a sci-fi Superman Krypton kind of thing. I'm sure you can already figure it out, but yeah. I'm just getting all the money, killing all the guys. I'm at level 19 right now. I only need like 4,000 or something XP to be at max level. And at max level, you actually get a completely you get a mod that does not require any cogs at all. Or not a mod, I guess it's kind of like the Ultra Composite Armor. You could technically turn it off if you want to, but it's called Yuppie Kaye, and what it does is I think it gives you an extra 30% for selling stuff. So if you get Yuppie Kaye, you just get so much more money, especially if you get it before you need like, sometimes you get to max level to the point where like you don't technically need any more money, but the way my XP route works out is that I get max level before I'm done needing money, so that extra 30% actually really does help. And I forgot, I misread the shop earlier, so I haven't bought the level 3 jet engine yet, which is Le Ron 69. Nice. I mean, I guess obligatory 69 joke, but so once you buy that, once you buy everything, including the level 3 jetpack, and a couple $1,000 more, you're good to go. So this is Minecart Madness. You just have to do minecart puzzles. The first one is pretty simple. The second one is also pretty easy to figure out. The third one took me far longer to figure out than it should have, and sometimes in runs I actually forgot the solution because there's so much stuff to remember in this game. Like, I'm not gonna remember this one specific minecart puzzle, right? Like, it seems really complicated at first. It's actually kind of simple, but I still hate myself for forgetting the solution during runs where I should have like PB'd or something, but I just completely forgot how to do this, and it sucked so much because I instantly lost my run. So you just have to line up the minecarts so that... Oh, Emily Arps is raiding with 2 people. Thanks. So you actually raiding with my finger guns ablazing. Thanks. So you just have to line up these minecarts to get to the end, and the solution, like you saw there, it's kind of complicated, but not really. You just need a little bit of thinking to figure it out. Thankfully, I seem to have it memorized. I mean, not anymore. I haven't run this category in a while, so I kind of forgot. I wasn't even paying attention. So I look at my map and see secrets 95%, and obviously I don't have mic for this run, or for the original run. I do have mic for commentary, but I was internally like freaking the fuck out because I was like, oh god, what did I miss? Like, I'm not supposed to have 95% right now. I'm supposed to have 100 because that's all the secrets. like Minecart Madness is the last secret that you can get, that you get in this route. Or no, it's not the last secret because I didn't get the cake, right? So there's one last artifact, and then after that, there's one extra secret that I forgot. So, secret area right under here. It's the cake, which I believe. Oh, nice! You finished your for the first game. Great. First game is really good too. I'm just doing commentary for a speedrun of the second game. Speedrun 100%, or 4 gold stars if you want to call it that. So, I already have enough money to buy the third jet engine, and that gives me probably the best upgrade for it is that I can move freely like in the air. Like if I let go of A while I'm in the air gliding, the bar will reset. So like you see there, it basically lets me fly infinitely. It's a shame that you only get it at the end of the run, but it's pretty useful for what it's worth. So right there I'm checking my map and I realized that what I actually forgot was that at the beginning of this dungeon, or at the beginning of this area, there's a secret maze off to the right that I just completely forgot about. I can't go to the oasis, obviously, but that was an accident. I meant to go to the entrance shaft. So right at the entrance of the temple, right up there, like that empty space where I didn't check, this is actually where the last secret is in the Temple of the Destroyer. So thankfully, I've had runs where I ended up with 95% at the end of the temple, and I just completely forgot what secrets I missed, and it was just awful, and it killed my run. But now every area is 100% except for the last area, which is the sewers leading up to the final boss. So once you destroy all the generators, you can't take the tube back to the oasis anymore because Rosie has purposely blocked it. So you need to find an alternate way in, and it's not something you can circumvent in speedruns either. It only happens if you destroy all 4 generators instead of all 3. For some reason, this does not happen in any percent where 1 generator can be skipped. So you end up never having to do this path, but it's only 4 gold stars. So this is technically the final area of the run before the final boss. So all we're trying to do here is hope that we have enough money, get all the secrets. You need to get all the ore as well, otherwise it won't count, and open up a path for the rockets. So there's a chamber like right at the end here where, like right there, if you see the droplet doesn't splash when it hit the ground, that's because it's actually falling through a tunnel, and you can break that block to lower the crates, and that opens up a path for the rocket to fly through and blast the boulders away. So the boulders, like the square boulders that can kill you instantly, they're normally indestructible except for these rockets. And this is actually the game's way of teaching you how to beat the final boss, because these rockets are actually what you use to stun her. So yeah. Right there I open the path for the rocket, and then I just shoot a bunch of them so they can clear the path. You technically only need to shoot 1, but I like to shoot 3 because I have this weird paranoia that like the rocket will not hit the thing at the end. So I just shoot a bunch of them, and it's like, oh, okay, one of these has to hit, right? But you only need 1. It's more of a safety measure in case you like forgot a block or something. Alright, so that's done. As you can see, that cave that we just exited has a check mark on it, so that's 100%. So we've gotten 100% of all secrets in the game, and it's time for Rosie. So Rosie, the final boss, is the hardest part of any percent, and the thing that I'm going to be focusing on is phase skips. So, the intended way for you to beat this boss is that it's basically an auto-scroller. Like, she shoots a rocket at you, like the rockets we've been using to clear the boulders, and then you hit it back at her, and it stuns her, and that lets you do damage. So, that seems pretty simple, but there are actually phase skips that I will get into. The first thing about the fight, before we get into the phase skip, is that the fastest way to damage her is a pressure bomb and 3 pickaxe hits. Otherwise, it would take 8 and be a few seconds slower. Right here, I'm doing a skip. So I never mentioned this, but I equipped a cog mod called Aramid Armor, and what it does is that it reflects a projectile that hits you every 30 seconds. So, like, it recharges every 30 seconds, and if you get hit with a projectile, that projectile will be reflected and you will take no damage. But it has the unintended side effect that if you stand next to the boss, if you, like, hug the wall, while she's shooting rockets at you, your Aramid Armor can reflect the rocket, and it will explode inside her hitbox and stun her early. So, this... Normally you'd have to wait for the rockets and the bullets barrage to be over, and then she would shoot the missile at you. But you can just do that, and it skips the entire rest of the phase, and that saves like 40 seconds, usually per phase. So if you're going for like a top level time in this game, you need to do these phase skips, or you need to like go for most of them. There are some that are riskier in any percent, but in 4 gold stars, not only do you have the ability to resurrect if you die, but you also like have max health. So in this third part, she starts chasing you, and she punches you. Each punch does 2 full hearts of health, as you can see. And that was a perfect third phase skip. And what happens is that she will punch you 3 times normally. If you're under 3 hearts, she will stop punching you, but that's only at 90%. So if you're at low enough health, she'll stop. But what I did there is that when she started her punch, I deliberately hugged the wall, like I'm doing right here. And when she starts shooting shit at me, in that phase that I skipped, the bullet is the first projectile that she shoots. And so even the bullets can be reflected, not just the rockets, the bullets can be reflected as well into her, and it'll skip the phase. Right here, I intentionally take punches from her just to end the punching phase earlier, otherwise it takes a while. You cannot use the balls as well. You cannot reflect the balls. And with that, we've beaten the final boss. So there's a first phase skip that you can go for, but it's very risky, it's very difficult, especially in any percent, so you normally only get 2 out of the 3 possible phase skips. Because the third phase, she shoots the balls before she shoots the bullets, so sometimes you get hit by a ball earlier accidentally, and you won't be able to reflect the bullet back, because your Aramid Armor is gonna take 30 seconds to recharge. But that was SteamWorld Dig 2. Time doesn't actually end after you beat Rosie. Time ends when the credits begin, so the end game time is still running right now. So it's just a small little cutscene that we need to get through before we finish the game proper. All right. So this is just the final cuts. In the 3 Yonker brothers that we rescued earlier at various points in the run, they actually show up in the ending cutscene if you save them. In any percent, you don't see them there because you never save any of them because you don't need their cog mods. But yeah, each one you save appears in the ending. Alright, so the game is officially done. Like, the game time is paused now, the game is considered finished. And you'll see in the scoreboard, or the results screen after the credits, that I did indeed get 4 gold stars, and therefore 100% in the game, and fulfill the requirements of the category. This is a 157.15. in game time, which was my goal. My goal in this category has always been sub 2. Obviously the world record is faster. It does some different stuff, but the basic route is the same. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this commentary was informative of the game. I hope this maybe has inspired you to pick up this game for speedrunning, because it's actually really, really cool. It's a really, really neat game to pick up. There's some hard parts, but with enough practice you can get better at the game and get past them. So yeah, there's really not much to say, except for the other 2 cog mods from the Yonker brothers that we don't get or use. One is Deathsplosions, so every enemy in the game when they die, they will explode. And the other one is I think it's Bloodlust or something like that. You'll get double the chance of blood rocks from killing enemies, but you won't get red orbs when you kill them. So as you can see, just to prove that this run is indeed legit, 157.15. So we obviously got the gold star for time. 0 deaths, did not die even once. Wealth, I finished with 17,308. So even without the stuff that I sold at the end, I probably would have been more or less fine. Oh wait, no, I wouldn't have, because I got like... Okay, never mind. So it's better to be over in terms of money than be under, because I finished runs where I had less than 14k and it really sucked. And as you can see, secrets 100%. You have to get absolutely everything that I got in this run. If you miss even one thing, it will say like 99%, and you will not get the gold star. Like, you will only get the gold star if you get absolutely 100%. If you get 99%, that star is going to be silver, and you're not going to complete the requirements of the category. So this is basically 100% of the game. But yeah, this was SteamWorld Dig 2. I really like this game. I really like this run. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching my commentary over it. Again, I hope it was informative. If a little bit foul-mouthed, I apologize for that. But yeah, you can follow me at twitch.tv/perillouspeanut. I don't stream that often, but when I do runs of various games. I'm a variety speedrunner. I don't just stick to one series or whatever. But yeah, if I'm ever live or doing a speedrun of something, tune in if you want. I also have the YouTube channel, which I'm also going to be uploading this commentary to. So if you want to check out my previous runs or any other stupid bullshit that I uploaded on my channel, you can do that. It's youtube.com/user/randomtalkinggamer, which is my really cringy old username from like 2011 when I first made my YouTube account. But yeah, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you around, Space Cowboy. I mean, look at Rusty. He literally is a Space Cowboy. And Dorothy is... I guess she's a space prospector. Alright, so that's SteamWorld Dig 2 with the unofficial subtitle in the credits of Together We're Not Alone. Thank you so much. Peace out.